I've never seen a mummy look like this before. He's still...
Juicy.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, this video contains stuff about Egypt and mummies and things I'm not too knowledgeable about, so I brought in an expert on Egypt. Sort of. Amputari? Oh, sorry, I mean, Tari? Oh, right. Anyway, when someone mentions mummies, most of you think Egypt, right? Pyramids, pharaohs, old curses, things like that. When the topic of mummies comes up, which I'm sure is over dinner, nightly, you probably don't think about Old West outlaws. I mean, what do mummies have to do with Wild West gunslingers? That's like asking, what does the RMS Titanic have to do with Barnum and Bailey Circus? Or, what do clowns have to do with politics? And what does any of this have to do with the circus anyway? It doesn't make sense. Maybe it's finally happened. Maybe I've finally lost my mind. Thanks for the vote of confidence. But, what if I told you there was a connection? What if I said there really was a famous cowboy mummy who made his living in early 20th century sideshows? Yep, that was a thing. Here goes. Elmer McCurdy was born in Washington, Maine on January 1st, 1880. Records show he had a pretty bad and impoverished early life. By the time he was a teen, McCurdy had become an alcoholic. He got a job as a plumber until a nationwide economic crisis in 1898 put him out of work. In 1907, McCurdy joined the U.S. Army. There he became a machine gunner, probably on a Colt 1895 machine gun like this one. He was honorably discharged November 7th, 1910. McCurdy then moved to Kansas, where he randomly decided to become a Wild West outlaw. A terrible Old West outlaw, actually. Elmer tried to use nitroglycerin in his robberies, an explosive he learned to use in the Army. Oddly, even with explosives, he kinda sucked at being a bad guy. After several failed robbery attempts, McCurdy finally hit a train. The big leagues of Western bandits, right? Actually, he only managed to steal like $50 and a jug of whiskey. Sick from tuberculosis, he hid in a barn that night and got drunk. But by morning a sheriff's posse had tracked him down, and McCurdy took a pot shot at a deputy.
There was a firefight! Behind us!
Hit in the chest by a bullet, Elmer McCurdy died, his career as an outlaw over. But his career as a celebrity was about to begin.
All right, the mummy's ready for his mystical journey. Oh, what's happening?
Undertaker Joseph Johnson embalmed Elmer and dressed him up, gave him a rifle and stuck him on the porch for an advertisement. In October 1916, two men came to the funeral home claiming to be Elmer's brothers. Aver and Wayne, as they called themselves, took the body. The men were actually James and Charles Patterson, James being the owner of Great Patterson Carnival Shows, a traveling carnival. McCurdy was placed in a sideshow exhibit as the outlaw who would never be captured alive. In 1922, Louis Sonny bought Elmer's remains and put the body in his Traveling Museum of Crime, a show that displayed wax effigies of famous outlaws like Jesse James. In 1928, Elmer appeared in a sideshow as part of what was the Trans-American Foot Race. In 1933, Dwayne Esper leased the mummy and stuck it in theaters to promote his film Narcotic, playing a dead dope fiend no less. McCurdy was on the silver screen in 1967 as a background prop in the movie She-Freak, and then did a stint in a wax museum before being sold to The Pike, an amusement park in Long Beach, California. McCurdy's mummy was used in the Laugh-in-the-Dark Funhouse, a dark ride where he was hung from a rope and painted with glow-in-the-dark paint, essentially turning Elmer into a Halloween prop you can buy for like $40 on Amazon. In December 1976, while filming an episode of The $6 Million Man at the Pike, a worker was moving the supposed wax figure from the gallows when its arm broke off, revealing bone and human tissue. Police were called, the body taken in for examination, and forensic investigators got to work. From their research, pathology, and ticket stubs found in the mummy's mouth, they concluded that this was indeed the body of Elmer McCurdy. On April 22nd, 1977, Elmer McCurdy finally got the Cowboy send-off he deserved. He was buried in the Boot Hill section of the Summit View Cemetery in Guthrie, Oklahoma, where he fortunately remains to this day. I know, right? That's the tale of Elmer McCurdy, the Old West outlaw who became a mummy, became a sideshow star, appeared in movies and television, and made front-page headlines across the country. McCurdy lived more in death than many of us will ever do in life. Oh, but wait, you didn't even do that much. Fine. Ugh, kids these days. Anyway, so now you know there was a cowboy mummy who worked for the circus. And that's a story worth the price of admission.